Hey guys, welcome back to another session with the Wise Man. And my name is Wise Man Jeremiah.
I know you're somewhere, I'm trapped.
Today we're going to speak about something that is called identity. Now, what is identity? Identity is something that is to do with your image, something that is to do with your purpose, and something that is to do with yourself. Now, identity is you have to look very close. You have to pay attention to identity. One thing that you will struggle in life the most is identity. Now let's go to the beginning and let's look at Adam as the very first being that was on the earth. Now Adam, the very first thing that he struggled with was identity. Now anything that moves outside of its identity is prone to die. Now, Adam's identity was looking after the garden. Adam's identity was hidden to the commands of God. That was Adam's identity. That was his sole purpose. The Bible says that God would come down in the coolness of the day and have a conversation with man. It meant that Adam was also a very spiritual being. That was his identity. Now, the Bible says, if thou eat from this plant or this tree, then thou shalt surely die. Now, Adam's identity, his sole identity, is hearing the commands of God. Now, when Eve was introduced into the picture, and at the end of the day, they end up eating this plant or this fruit. And once they ate from this fruit, Adam had changed his identity. Anything that changes his identity surely dies. And the Bible said that he who eats from this fruit shall surely die, and Adam died. Not a physical death, but Adam had died a spiritual death. Let's continue down the line. Christ's identity was holiness. Christ's identity was to bring forth the love of God to men and show mercy. That was his identity. Full holiness. That is the identity of Christ. And then one day, Christ took upon sin. And the whole sin of the world was now on Christ. He had changed his identity from holiness to having sin. And the Bible says once Christ took upon the world's sin onto his identity changed. And what happened? Christ died. Every time you move outside of the identity that God has given you, that God has placed for you, you will die. If you try and make business outside of the identity that God has called you for, that business won't grow. If you try and build a relationship, a marriage, outside of the identity or the image that God has placed for you, that relationship will die. You need to make sure and you need to find out that you are really operating and moving inside of the identity that God has placed. What struggled Eve and what fought Eve was identity. She kept asking questions. She kept wanting to find out. And the more and more she asked questions, the more and more she was led away from her true self. And that's when she ended up believing what the devil was saying. And she took from the fruit and she gave to Adam, because he also had problems with identity. And they ended up outside of the garden. You will end up outside of your dream. You will end up outside of your dream job. You will marry someone that you were not supposed to marry. You will move outside of what God had prepared for you because you have failed to realize what your identity is. Thank you for joining me with this at this session of a session with the Wise Man. My name is Wise Man Jeremiah. Like this if you liked it and share with your friends, and I will see you